one of the country's elite, leads Seton Hall's drive for an elusive dance spin. The 25th Big East Championship. History in the making. Garden here in New York City. Yes, some Villanova fans here and some Seton Hall fans as well. The Halls had a good year. This game available on ESPN HD. Championship week presented by 7-Up continues. The Villanova Wildcats going to try to pull off an upset here tonight as they take on the Seton Hall Pirates, who have had a terrific season under Louis Orr, going 20-8 so far this year. A look at what's happened already today. Earlier this afternoon, Virginia Tech just edging out Rutgers to advance under the quarters against Pittsburgh. Boston College over Georgetown. And in the just completed game, Notre Dame withstood a furious rally by West Virginia. Actually lost the lead and then got it back on a Collin Falls 3. They hang on and beat the Mountaineers by a point. So they'll play UConn tomorrow night. The winner of this game will play the number 3 seed Providence Friars tomorrow night. A look at our star watch, and Len, this game is going to be dominated by the guards.
Well, too many close losses this season for Villanova has been traced to the lack of a go-to guy. Alan Ray's the leading candidate. He's been a mainstay in the last 3. And Andre Barrett, first-team all-conference, having as good a year as any point guard in America. Seton Hall 10-6 in the Big East in 2 consecutive years. Barrett's greatest value is in making his teammates better.
Along with Len Elmore and Doris Burke, I'm Dan Shulman. We'll bring Doris in shortly. Seton Hall, the higher seed, will be in the home white. You're looking at Andre Barrett, a senior, first-team All-Big East. And it looks like he's going to go to the NCAA tournament for the first time in his career, along with classmate Marcus Toniel. Meanwhile, for Villanova, the Wildcats have lost 5 games in a row, 4 of them very close. They need to win not 1 but 2 games here in the Big East Championship to be considered for the NIT.
Right now, Seton Hall opens up in man-to-man. Andre Barrett trying to apply extreme pressure to Mike Nardi.
They met once during the regular season. That was at the Meadowlands, and Seton Hall escaped with a 70-68 win. They had a big lead in the second half. Villanova made a huge comeback, but fell just short. Randy Foy, his first jumper not there, and the rebound to Barrett. He loves to push.
Well, he certainly does. He pushes until you give. Does a nice job as a point guard. Sure, explore the defense. Get your team into the sets, and when the shot clock runs down, he'll break you down.
Foy gambles. Toniel. Inside. Whitney, no. 57% shooter on the season. Second in the Big East, but he misses his first try. As we check out the starting lineup for Louis Orr's Seton Hall Pirates. Again, a lot of experience with Barrett and Toniel, both seniors. Andre Swee, the transfer from Duke, now his second year with the Pirates, has really come on strong. Tipped away by Nardi, run down by Whitney. And now back into the hands of Barrett.
Here's where the shot clock's running down. Barrett's got to create.
Kicks it out to the open man, John Allen. Got to get a shot on. Leans in, got rim, rebound Cats.
Well, Barrett had set Allen up with a shot, and Allen decided he wanted to put the ball on the floor himself.
This is Mike Nardi, freshman point guard, who was originally going to redshirt this year, but Derek Snowden got hurt early. They pushed Nardi into service, and he made the Big East All-Rookie team.
Well, he's been a terrific discovery for Jay Wright. Very smart, able to knock down shots.
There's the score. Alan Ray can knock down shots. Almost 18 points per game to lead Villanova.
Over the last 3 games, averaging about 24 points a game.
Toniel kicks it into the corner to Barrett. Now Whitney with good position inside, and he draws the foul. And Whitney is a whole lot stronger than any of the bodies that Jay Wright can send out there for Villanova. Villanova's got good height, but not a whole lot of muscle. Curtis Sumter, Jason Frazier, both a little bit lean, the front court guys. And a 3-guard lineup with Ray, Foy, and Nardi. This Villanova team, Len, starts 4 sophomores and a freshman.
And you're right, Dan. Jason Frazier, 6'10". He's been slowed by knee injuries, heel injuries. It's really slowed his development. Not able to put on the weight and gain the strength that he certainly needs to be able to compete against guys with shoulders like that.
A combination of injuries, inexperience, suspensions. Remember the phone card situation involving Villanova. And the Wildcats have just not had the kind of a year that was expected of them. Sweet with the left hand.
Andre Sweet, very versatile player, much improved. increased his minutes from 21 last year to 32 minutes a game. He is absolutely an anchor for Louis Orr and the Seton Hall Pirate team.
High school teammate of Andre Barrett. One of the reasons he transferred to Seton Hall from Duke after not playing much as a freshman down in Durham. Look at the pressure by Barrett on Nardi. Look out. Screen by Frazier. Now Sumter. And a foul is called. Boy, Tourney thought he had it clean, but he gets called for the foul, his first, as we check out the nice interior move by Andre Sweet.
Andre Sweet averaging 11 points and 6 rebounds per game. Nice job with the left hand in the paint. You look at him right there. Draws the contact, freezes the defender.
At the line for Villanova, Curtis Sumter, a sophomore from Brooklyn. This Villanova team also dominated Len by New York, the greater New York area players, some of them from Jersey. Of course, Jay Wright, formerly the coach at Hofstra, when he went to Villanova, he came back to New York City a couple of years ago and got one of the most highly thought of recruiting classes in the country.
Well, dominated by New York City players, aren't every team? Isn't every team dominated? No.
Spoken like a true New Yorker.
At least that's the way it used to be.
Well, remember Andre Barrett, part of that New York City point guard class. Talik Brown, Omar Cook. And we'll see Talik Brown tomorrow night when UConn plays Notre Dame, 7 Eastern on ESPN2. The ball will stay with the Pirates.
So a lot of bodies flying, hitting the ground. Very physical inside as people jockey for position. And this Seton Hall team, they won't back down. They've got the strength of Kelly Whitney to be able to make some room down low, particularly on weak side glass.
Allen. Nice speed. Whitney strong to the glass, and he's fouled. And this is one of the best things about this Seton Hall team, how many different players can score. Barrett dominates at times, yes, but they've got 5 players scoring in double figures.
And you look at Allen right there, surrounded by 4 black shirts or blue shirts. He just does a nice job of getting the ball between the defenders to the open man. Very unselfish.
Whitney, the sophomore out of Chicago, knocks down the free throw. Andre Barrett leading at better than 17 points per game, but as mentioned, 5 in double figures, including J.R. Morris, who comes off the bench. Marcus Toniel, a starter, and a pretty big name when he came in back with Barrett and Griffin a few years ago. Not that much of a scorer right now, more of a distributor, rebounder, defender.
Well, I'll tell you something about Marcus Toniel. When he first got to Seton Hall, he was also a talker.
Yes.
And sometimes he put his foot in his mouth. But this young man has matured, understands his role right now. He's very valuable to this team. He rebounds, he defends. And you just got to take your hat off to him. This is what college does to young men. It helps them mature from freshman year to senior year.
And that's what Villanova is hoping to go through. Seton Hall's certainly gone through it. Back to the Tommy Amaker era when he left for Michigan. This class of players was disappointed. They considered transferring that a turbulent year that they had when Eddie Griffin was there. But Louis Orr came in, and he convinced the players to stay, Len. And finally, 2-3 years later, it's all real paying off for these guys.
Yeah, but if you know Louis Orr, it wouldn't have been hard to convince them, understanding his pedigree. Terrific player at Syracuse, played in the NBA, one of my teammates with the New York Knicks, an excellent top assistant for Jim Boeheim, had tremendous success at Siena before coming to Seton Hall. If I'm a player, I look at a guy like that and say, yeah, I'm playing for you.
One of the real quality people in college basketball. Allen Ray turns the corner, and Barrett picks off the pass. And Ray runs over his man, Whitney. He's also called for the offensive foul, his first.
And again, you talk about the intelligence with which you have to play if you're in the post. A lot of guys want to block every shot there is, but Kelly Whitney did a nice job of holding his ground, taking that offensive foul. Seton Hall better get somebody to come in to inbound the ball. Barrett's being denied.
John Allen comes back to help out. Nardi and Barrett really going to go at one another tonight. A big size advantage on Ray. Villanova plays 3 smallish guards. And there's a foul on Nardi. That'll be his first. We will step aside for a moment here in New York. And when we come back, Doris Burke with a little bit more on Louis Orr and Seton Hall. Week presented by 7-Up. First round action for the Big East Championship. Villanova and Seton Hall tied early as we bring in the third member of our broadcast team tonight, Doris Burke.
Dan, when seniors Marcus Tourney and Andre Barrett arrived at Seton Hall 4 seasons ago, it was under the weight of great expectations. Seton Hall was coming off an appearance in the Sweet 16. With this recruiting class, preseason rankings found them in the top 10. That proved to be a bit lofty. You touched on a little bit of controversy, some personnel issues for Tommy Amaker. But credit Andre Barrett and Marcus Tourney for their perseverance and adding stability to this basketball team. He has hung in there last year coming into this tournament on the NCAA tournament bubble. It burst, but he is poised and ready. Nice when good things happen to good people, guys.
Sure is, Doris. Perseverance. You talked to Len about maturing, and perseverance, one of the best traits that a young student athlete can learn. And Andre Barrett and Marcus Tourney have certainly learned that over the last 4 years.
Well, particularly Andre Barrett. I call him Little Big Man. A lot of it has to do with his heart and the way he can play on the floor.
Alan Ray with his scoop. This guy's a gifted scorer. In Villanova's last 2 games, they have scored a total of 101 points, and Ray's got 51 of them. So he's doing about half their scoring over the last 2 games. Barrett leaves it short. Long rebound back to the Pirates.
Well, so much for the search for a go-to guy. I think Alan Ray has emerged as a front runner. If not, got the nomination sewn up.
This probably is a little consolation to Jay Wright, but you still get the feeling, offensive foul on Tony L out of control, you still get the feeling that this Villanova team is going to be a real handful for the Big East next year.
Well, they've always shown signs of brilliance. Right there, a nice job of covering the passing lane by Alan Ray and converting. And again, it's just about anticipation. The more experience a young man like this gets, the more confidence he gets, the more dominant he becomes.
That foul was the second on Marcus Toniel, and J.R. Morris is going to check into the next whistle. Seton Hall is not a very deep team.
And Toniel's got to be careful. Still playing very physical with Curtis Sumter, number 34.
That is one of Villanova's biggest problems as they turn it over. Toniel out. Morris in. Don't forget, Championship Week presented by 7-Up continues tomorrow as the Big Ten tournament begins on ESPN. Indiana and Ohio State will play at noon Eastern tomorrow right here on ESPN.
Talk about J.R. Morris coming in. He's a 6th man, averaging 10 points a game. He is instant offense. Comes off the bench with his hands up looking for the ball.
Andre Barrett shooting the ball well. 40% from 3 this year. Listed at 5'10", believed to be about 5'8". But he has become a terrific all-around college point guard.
So I call him Little Big Man. Maybe at 5'10", maybe 5'8", but he plays like he's 6'8" out there at times.
As important to his team's success, Len, I think, as any player in the Big East. Good work inside by Will Sheridan, a freshman out of Bear, Delaware. I know who impressed you a little bit when we saw him last week against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he knows how to play inside. I mean, he doesn't look for a shot that often, but defensively takes up space, recognizes when to block shots, when to take a charge, and that really throws the opponent off balance because they don't know when to drive, when to pull up.
Brett Billmeyer, number 41, is checked into the game and out for Seton Hall, freshman. He's defending Sheridan. Sheridan goes right at him.
But he doesn't look for the shot. There it is there.
And the rebound to Billmeyer. Louis Orr says Billmeyer is as hard-working a player as anybody he's ever coached. There he is crashing the glass at the other end with a loose ball to Villanova. Alan Ray spinning again. Beautiful find to Sumter.
Well, if you're Villanova, that's the man whose hands you want the ball to be in, Alan Ray.
We mentioned turnovers have been a big problem, especially lately for Randy Foy. Mike Nardi's turnovers are pretty high. Curtis Sumter, a forward, has a lot of turnovers, but Alan Ray, just 1 turnover per game the last 5 games. And there's a block going against Villanova. Well, as mentioned, the Big Ten tournament gets going tomorrow right here on ESPN at noon Eastern. Ohio State against Indiana, and then at 2 Eastern time, it'll be Minnesota and Purdue. Both Big Ten tournament games tomorrow, also available on ESPN HD. Call your cable operator, DirecTV, or the Dish Network today. It looks like, barring a run right to the Big Ten tournament championship, that Indiana's streak, obviously, of making it to the NCAA tournament will come to an end. They've got the second longest streak in the country right now, next to Arizona, but that's all but over.
Well, everyone predicted this was going to be a tough year for Mike Davis and the Hoosiers. He's got an excellent recruiting class coming in if he can keep some of those guys from trying to go to the next level directly from high school.
Villanova clicking, Ray to Foy. You'll hear that a lot. You'll hear Foy to Ray a lot also. And a very good start here for the underdog Villanova Wildcats. Allen again thought about the shot. Instead finds Billmeyer, and he goes up strong and draws the foul.
Well, very impressed with John Allen. Again, his unselfishness. He's normally a shooter with a green light, and that time he found Billmeyer, and he's been finding other guys. But on the Villanova side, once again going to that guy, and he makes things happen with Randy Foy. Fast break situation. Villanova has terrific athletes out there. It's just a question of them getting the ball in the hands of the right people to trigger it.
Billmeyer out of Pennington, New Jersey, 6'10", 245 freshman. He started the first 7 or 8 games of the season because Kelly Whitney was academically ineligible in the first semester. Then his minutes just about dried up in January, but now he's playing well again, working hard to practice, and now he's getting more minutes, and as you can see, sometimes even playing alongside Kelly Whitney.
Well, he's had some flashes of brilliance. Scored 8 points, had 5 rebounds in the Seton Hall win against Pittsburgh, so he's done it against the best.
Boy, that was great hands by Whitney to steal the ball, and then he draws the foul. And these Seton Hall big guys are going to the basket strong.
And that's their strength. They are looking to use those big, strong bodies, that agility, to wear down the smaller, the more slender Villanova Wildcats up front.
Second foul on Chris Charles. He's a 7-footer, but he's slender as well, just 215 pounds, and you can see how the fouls are piling up on Villanova already. Lewis Orr's had a lot to cheer about this season. A 20-8 record, 10-6 in the Big East. They're the number 6 seed because they lost the tiebreaker to Boston College, who beat them a couple of times. The Eagles, the number 5 seed. And Seton Hall this year beat Pittsburgh, beat Syracuse, and won on the road at Providence.
Well, right now in the game, Donald Copeland, number 10, playing Randy Foy at the point. Copeland's one of those quick little gnats that just gets in your way, gets on your nerves, but he gets the job done.
Sheridan again passes up the shot. And Villanova will reset. Foy running things at the point right now, driving on Copeland. And a blocking foul is the call on Whitney.
That time Kelly Whitney a little late getting to the help. And Randy Foy, recognizing he's got the smaller Copeland on him, did a nice job of getting guys to clear out the paint, giving him some room to work.
There's Randy Foy, part of his class, now all sophomores. Foy, Ray, Sumter, Frazier. Frazier's not been healthy, so it's hard to evaluate him. Sumter will go out, and now Derek Snowden will come in. He's a senior. Number 3 in the background there, and that's a rarity for Villanova. Freshmen and sophomores have played 90% of the minutes for the Wildcats this year.
And you talk about Randy Foy, he's a guy that's done a tremendous job out there trying to play the point.
When we come back, we'll tell you about a couple of guys generally friends, but that cannot be the case here tonight. Doris Burke with more when we return.
Basketball game here at Big East tournament action in Madison Square Garden, and Seton Hall freshman and Mike Nardi from Villanova, both freshmen for their respective institutions. Mike Nardi at Villanova, not only friends Dan Schulman, but actually roommates last season. Grant Billmeyer from Seton Hall moved in with Mike Nardi's family to be closer to St. Pat's in New Jersey. They talk quite frequently, guys, and nothing like 2 hard-working Jersey boys, Dan Schulman.
Doris, I'm guessing with the size of Billmeyer, that jacked up the Nardi weekly grocery bill by a fair amount when he was living with the Nardi family, but they are very close friends, but they've got to put that aside here tonight.
I want to know who is Oscar and who's feeling.
Now, travel is the call as the Pirates turn it over. Villanova, just like when we saw them against Pittsburgh, and granted the score isn't as lopsided here tonight, but they start the game with very good energy, very good confidence. The key for the young Wildcats this year has been maintaining that and finishing strong, playing some poised basketball in the second half.
Well, to a great extent, a lot of it has to do with them sustaining on the offensive end. That means that Alan Ray particularly has got to stay in the game. He's got to stay involved in the offense. And I mentioned the job that Randy Foy has done at the point guard, although he has been turnover prone.
Finds Ray there, who misses the 3.
You know, Foy in the last 6 games coming into this one has averaged about 5 turnovers a game, and it's the most inopportune of times when they have leads and they wind up losing those leads, giving the other team open floor opportunities. A lot of those turnovers come off of steals.
Lewis Orr, meanwhile, kind of matching up with the Villanova lineup right now, going small with Barrett and Copeland both on the floor at the same time.
And when you got 2 point guards out there with the ability to create, although Barrett looks for a shot more, just gives him a heck of a lot more options on the offensive end as well.
Here's Ray, leading scorer for this team by a wide margin. Elevates over Copeland, and he is feeling it early here tonight. Allen Ray with 6.
And I think Lewis is going to rethink that matchup right there, bringing John Allen, sending him to the scorer's table. As Allen Ray is just a load at 6'2", much bigger than Donald Copeland.
A whole lot of contact as J.R. Morris of Seton Hall is called for the foul. And just watching Allen Ray a few times down the court, you can see how much raw ability he's got.
Well, certainly here, recognizing he's got that advantage over Copeland, just does a nice job going to the basket, stopping on a dime, knowing Copeland can't get a hand in his face.
A third-team All-Big East performer, Allen Ray. His teammate Curtis Sumter was named to the third team as well. Copeland out, Allen in, as Len mentioned.
Allen gives much more size there at 6'5". Actually, a couple inches taller than Ray, at least on paper.
Boyd driving. And again, Sheridan, as soon as he gets it, looking to give it right back to a guard.
And there's a switch off right there. Barrett's on Ray right now. Nobody's recognizing the size differential and getting him the ball. And there's a turnover by Randy Foy.
And as Len mentioned, that's been a big problem. 30 turnovers committed by Foy in his last 6 games. And Jay Wright, regardless of who the primary point guard is, you go back 3 or 4 years, Len, Villanova's had as many, if not more, turnovers than any team in the Big East every single year.
Well, to Foy's defense, he's a converted point guard. You know, he's had to learn the position to try to back up Mike Nardi, as you mentioned, with the injuries to Snowden.
What a steal by Barrett. Morris. Andre Barrett made that play, folks.
Told you, little big man props up any place you need a big play.
Boy, did he anticipate that pass beautifully. And a great find to Morris in the corner to tie the game. Another turnover by Foy. Started to pass the ball a little bit too early. Now Morris at the other end. Good rebound in traffic by Sheridan. So back-to-back turnovers committed by Randy Foy and Villanova. And Nardi's getting ready to check back in for the Wildcats. Sumter puts it on the floor. Left hand, no. Rebound, Whitney.
And this is what happens. Villanova gets to a lead. They turn the ball over a couple of times. The other team gets easier opportunities to get a basket or get fouled. And again, sorry, Dan, you talk about turnovers. Andre Barrett, watch him right here. He's just going to lay in the weeds. Wait till the traffic clears, and hello.
Sometimes being 5'8" can almost help you. Nobody knows where you are.
And we talk about his value of making guys better. Here's the steal. Now, of course, he could challenge Sumter, but he just draws Sumter, draws the defense, then he kicked it out to Morris for Morris's three-point effort.
Morris, one of the most talented offensive players that Seton Hall has, although he misses the first free throw. Nardi is back in, and a dejected Randy Foy is going to sit down, get a little lesson from Fred Hill, who used to be a coach assistant at Seton Hall, now with Villanova. That dreaded word potential or upside. I mean, Villanova is littered with it. You can see where they might be in a year or two, but they're just not quite there yet. Sumter the pull-up. Wow, good range for Curtis Sumter. Looking confident drilling that shot.
Well, Curtis Sumter likes to play, for the most part, the 4 spot where he's quicker than most of the big guys. That time he's matched up with a guy as athletic as he is, and Andre Sweet didn't matter, really.
Backdoor cut. Barrett couldn't reach it. Tomorrow, Championship Week presented by 7-Up, and the Big East Championship both continue on ESPN2. Quarterfinal action at noon Eastern. Virginia Tech, who knocked off Rutgers today. They'll take on the top seed of the Big East, Pittsburgh. And then BC, the Eagles beat Georgetown today. They will go up against Jim Boeheim's Syracuse Orangemen at 2 Eastern over on ESPN2. Sean McDonough, Jay Billis, and Bill Raftery will have both of those games for you.
Very impressed with Virginia Tech today. I mean, you talk about a young, athletic bunch. You know, Bryant Matthews didn't have a Bryant Matthews type of game, 3 for 12. You know he's going to be on tomorrow.
They get a real challenge against Pittsburgh. Nice move inside by Sumter. He's got 9, and Villanova leads by 5. Remember watching tape a couple of weeks ago, the Villanova-Connecticut game, and Sumter going right at Villanova, going right at Boone, going right at even Okafor from time to time. He is not shy when he plays against bigger people. Turnover, Seton Hall. So Villanova enjoying an early 5-point lead on the Pirates as we create more memories here with the Big East Championship.
And it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
Coverage of Championship Week presented by 7-Up. Villanova leading Seton Hall by 5 midway through the first half. But look at the All Big East first team, as was announced yesterday. They used to have 5, then they went to 6, one of them being the player of the year. Then they had a tie in the voting this year. So they've got 7 players on the All Big East first team, including a couple of UConn Huskies, Emeka Okafor and Ben Gordon. Andre Barrett in this game here tonight, he represents Seton Hall.
Well, Andre Barrett's so deserving of it, but you saw a picture of Bryant Matthews there, and we just finished talking off camera about the fact that here he is with Virginia Tech, a team a lot of people didn't expect an awful lot of, but he led the conference in scoring, in the top 10 in field goal percentage, in rebounding, in steals. I mean, this guy had done it all, and it's good to see that people respected that performance despite the expectations of his team, the low expectations that his team had.
Well, they played under the radar, but when you look at this tournament coming in, as Ray leaves it short, Virginia Tech came in as the 8th seed. I mean, they had a pretty good season.
Oh, they did, and that's what I meant, the low expectations, but they really stepped it up.
Yep. Speaking of stepping it up, there's your little big man again, Andre Barrett, getting Seton Hall back within 3. A little leadership, a little cheerleading out on the floor. Wants to continue their postseason run on an up note. They know they're going to the dance, so in all likelihood with 20 wins, but don't want to lose in the first round in your conference tournament.
And I know Louis Orr, he's got, just because they made it to the dance doesn't mean that he doesn't have loftier goals right here for this Big East championship, especially for the senior Andre Barrett, last go-round.
Last year, Seton Hall had a good season, closed very well as Snowden knocks down the 3. But the Pirates, along with the Boston College Eagles, were left on the outside looking in on Selection Sunday. It's expected both of those teams will make it this year, and that the Big East will have at least 6 teams in the dance.
And they certainly had a claim for a berth, no question. Again, 10-6 in this tough Big East conference last year. But they left nothing for chance this year. Nothing to chance at all.
What a play by Snowden. Backs it out, then spins back to the baseline, knocks it down. Louis Orr has to call a timeout, and Villanova extends the lead to 8.
And boy, you talk about courage. Derek Snowden is one of those guys that you have to think about. You know, reliable senior point guard, battled back from a torn ACL to become a critical piece of this Villanova. I guess you could call it rebuilding with these young players.
A former starter has now become a valuable performer off the bench, and he's got back-to-back buckets for the Wildcats. There's the 3.
You just take a look there, no hesitation whatsoever, and he's getting pretty good elevation. Looks like that knee is recovered.
Well, let's look inside the Big East again, and now the top 8 schools by RPI. Again, just one of the measures used by the selection committee. And you can see that Seton Hall with an RPI of 21, already 20 wins, quality wins within the league. They are in great shape. The top 6 appear to be in great shape. Rutgers, a potential bubble team, lost to Virginia Tech today, so that would figure to finish them. Notre Dame, a potential bubble team, beat West Virginia by 1 earlier this evening, and they'll play Connecticut tomorrow night. 7 Eastern over on ESPN2. And Len, again, the big story in the Big East and maybe nationally, we still don't know if Emeka Okafor is going to be able to play because of the back problems.
And boy, that would be such a disappointment, obviously, for a young man like Emeka Okafor and what he's been able to accomplish and where he's led his team thus far. But for all the fans here, particularly UConn fans who have high expectations for that team to go a long way. With Emeka Okafor, they challenge for the national championship. And quite honestly, I believe without him, they're just young players starting to build.
As was reported earlier tonight on ESPN, Okafor, who was not only the player of the year in the Big East, the defensive player of the year in the Big East, and the scholar athlete of the year in the Big East. And he's also the National Academic All-American and could very well be the National Defensive Player of the Year and the National Player of the Year.
What else can you be? Is there anything else?
Healthy. Just healthy. That's all Jim Calhoun wants. Okafor, who's suffering from back spasms, flew to Houston, or to Dallas, I should say, today. He's from Houston, flew to Dallas. This reported at halftime of our first game tonight here on ESPN. And consulted with a doctor who is familiar with his medical history. Okafor had an MRI done Monday. They took that down to Dallas today. Then he flew down, flew back. And I guess we won't know until game time. Everything that the UConn folks are saying is it's going to be a game time decision to see how much pain he has. Three-pointer rims out for John Allen. Nice look ahead. Ray cannot run it down. Just got led a little bit too far.
I'll tell you what, you look at Jason Frazier's frame, you wouldn't think that he could toss that overhand outlet pass that far. Good thought, though. Just led his teammate a bit too far.
Villanova, this is a pattern for them at times this year, a fast start, and then they let it slip away. But it was the opposite in their earlier game against Seton Hall, as Allen muscles his way inside, count the basket.
Good job of breaking that half-court pressure. And it was that initial pass right there from the double team. Nobody covers the middle. And once you get the ball in the middle of that half-court pressure, it's very difficult to stop. You got an advantage situation there, 2-on-1.
Allen's first basket of the game in 7 tries. Snowden trying to shake Tourney out. Seton Hall playing some aggressive man-to-man defense, but Villanova still executing. Snowden, tough shot. Barrett, look at him lead the break. Tourney, wow!
That's sweet. That's how you run a fast break.
I don't know that anybody in this league gets from foul line to foul line as quickly as Andre Barrett does.
And you don't know if too many people that have the vision. He's always looking up. Didn't look at the ball. He knows who's running with him and delivers it on the money. Tony L just has to get to the rim.
4 years of playing together. Go back further than that. Andre Barrett at Rice High School in the Bronx. There have been some amazing guards to come out of New York City, but Barrett is one of them. The 1999 New York City High School championship game for Rice. He led his team to a victory.
That was Andre Sweet right there.
Yeah, that's right. Sweet was his teammate and led him to a victory over Omar Cook and Christ the King. And Andre Barrett saying, you know what, I want a championship as a high schooler. I want to win some kind of a championship as a college player, whether it's a Big East championship, do some serious damage in the NCAA tournament. He has had an outstanding career, and his team finally catching up to his level of ability. He's not giving Nardi any room to breathe.
That's right. He's making Nardi go east-west, not allowing him to go north-south.
Forrest, Sumter. Frazier keeps it alive, but Whitney comes up with it for the Pirates.
And that was a good block out. Anytime the big guy can just stand flat-footed and get a rebound with opponents all around him means he's blocking out well.
Barrett misses the three. And who gets the foul? Nardi commits the foul for Villanova, his second.
And who sticks his nose in the middle of the crowd? Smallest guy on the floor. Andre Barrett.
Now, Barrett's pretty close to everything you want your college point guard to be. He distributes. He can score if need be. He's better than 17 points per game. Good leadership. Solid defense.
You got to have a little bit of courage.
Yeah.
Stick your nose in there where usually 5-10 guys don't belong.
Makes it a 5-point game as he knocks down the first. And they step away from the line as Bill Meyer returns to the game for the Hall. Closing in on Shaheen Holloway. A couple more games here, maybe a couple in the NCAA tournament, and Barrett could become Seton Hall's all-time leader in assists.
He's got to get some guys to make some shots.
That's right.
That'll help. I give it to you, but you got to finish.
Ray. Wow. No call, a lot of contact, and a very strong finish by Allen Ray. He's got 10. A playoff Billmeyer.
Look at the sag right there. Now to jump out on the screen because it's the shooter, John Allen, coming off that screen. But pretty good sag by Villanova, forcing Seton Hall to have to continue to move the ball rather than take the jump shot with guys who can't shoot it. You take a look at the sag right here. You got these guys in the lane. And now look at all the guys right there staying around the lane. Now there's the jump out real quickly. You can't allow John Allen to come off a screen like that wide open. So good job defensively by Villanova, all but the foul.
10th team foul committed by the Wildcats. So 2 shots the rest of the way this half of the Pirates. Foy goes to the bench. That was his second. 4 Villanova players, each with 2 fouls already in this game.
Lewis Orr speaking to his extension out there on the floor, Andre Barrett.
Allen knocks him down and will step aside. Barrett and the favored Pirates, though, are down by 4. It's a guy that Jay Wright would love to get in uniform for the Wildcats. A one-and-done guy back from 96-97. Tim Thomas, what a talent he is.
Certainly is. Rounding out into being a pretty solid professional, but here to root the school. And you take a look at those chips in his ear. I would say talented and successful.
Rooting on Villanova. 27-23 lead on Seton Hall. The Wildcats come in as the 11th seed. 14-15 overall, 6-10 in the league play. Seton Hall the number 6 seed, 20-8 overall, 10-6 in the Big East. Double team on Sumter, kicks it out to Nardi. Back to Sumter. Sumter again. Triple teamed. Turns it over and then commits the foul. That's a tough break for Sumter, who was really working his tail off on that possession. The tomorrow championship week presented by 7-Up continues, and the Big Ten tournament begins right here on ESPN. First at noon Eastern, it's Indiana and Ohio State. Follow that up at 2 o'clock with Minnesota and Purdue. Tomorrow's Big Ten tournament games also available in high definition on ESPN HD. To the line, Andre Sweet. He's got quite a setup there as he gets ready to shoot his free throws.
Andre Sweet, we talked about him being the anchor of this team. Last 2 games, averaging about 14 points and 12 rebounds. Really on a hot streak.
He takes his time. He's got his routine. Squeezes those shoulders in.
Loosen them up.
1 of 2. Foul underneath on Marcus Toniel. We're in the late stages here in the first half as Toniel picks up his 3rd along with Len Elmore and Doris Burke. I'm Dan Schulman, and this is continuing coverage of Championship Week presented by 7-Up. First round action from the Big East Championship here at Madison Square Garden. Already today, Virginia Tech beat Rutgers. Boston College beat Georgetown, and Notre Dame escaped with a 1-point win over West Virginia. This is the final first round game. The winner of this game will play Providence tomorrow night. Allen Ray's had a nice first half with 10 points. And he draws the foul. He has been awfully assertive offensively here tonight.
Yeah, he's been a tough matchup for John Allen. Allen big and strong at 6'5", but Ray, utilizing his quickness and his ball handling, gets just head and shoulders past Allen on the baseline, just enough to create the contact.
Second foul on Allen, and Ray, a very good free throw shooter at 77% on the season.
See, when you got a breakdown artist like Allen Ray, you've got to start sending people. You got to send people and make him give it up. He's going to have to find somebody out there, but you don't allow him to beat you.
Well, now Lewis Orr goes back to the smaller lineup, bringing Copeland back in. So Coach Orr's got to pick his poison. Does he want a smaller guy covering Ray or a guy who's not quick enough to cover Ray?
Well, the thing is, I think you've got to be able to neutralize Ray, make him play defense on the other end. Right now, Villanova again in a half-court trap, dropping back into man-to-man, it appears.
Ray is on Barrett right now. Snowden on Copeland.
And right now you got to get Andre Barrett involved in the offense, because the best way to neutralize a guy who's hurting you offensively is to make him play D. Wham.
There he is. Good call, Lenny. Andre Barrett knocks down the 2, and the Pirates back within 3. Barrett now with a 9. He and Ray going right at each other here tonight. Nardi tries to turn the corner on Copeland, who slows him down. Ray. Boy, that's a tough shot. His momentum kind of carrying him away from the basket toward the sideline when he let that go. He's now got the last 9 Villanova points. Copeland not looking for the ball. And boy, is Andre Barrett frustrated with that turnover.
Well, first of all, I don't know how when Barrett has the ball, you can't be looking for it. You know, there's Andre Barrett making Alan Ray play some D, but right back at you, Ray, who is able to screen Barrett off, get him rubbed off on a pick, a hard pick, gets a wide open look.
Ray again, off the hands of Charles. A good idea by Ray, but Charles couldn't corral it. The foul on Will Sheridan. And again, double bonus the rest of the way for the Pirates, so they'll get 2 free throws. Andre Barrett knocks down the first as we send it over to Doris Burke.
Dan, the Seton Hall coaching staff came into this basketball game thinking that if they could pressure Villanova and take away their initial looks, that they would do a good job defensively. But Villanova executing to the tune of 48% on offense. Now the key is, can they continue it into the second half, guys?
Well, that's been one of the big questions for this young Wildcat team, as we mentioned earlier, is staying confident, staying poised for 40 minutes.
And also making sure that Alan Ray gets enough touches. He's the guy that makes this go. The bulk of that 48% field goal shooting has been Alan Ray in one-on-one breakdown situation.
Ray with 71 points in his last 3 games, and already 15 more here tonight. Stripped, though, by Barrett. Numbers for Seton Hall. Barrett in traffic will finish. And look at the emotion on the senior now as the Pirates are back within 2.
And we mentioned the first time Copeland came in with Barrett, how dangerous it is for the opposition when you have 2 point guards out there on the floor, the way they run the fast break. Done to perfection that time.
You got a ton of New York City area kids on both of these teams playing here at Madison Square Garden. First round action of the Big East Championship. And even though Seton Hall has all but locked up a spot in the NCAA, you can see from Barrett's reaction how much this game and this tournament mean to him. Snowden drives. The feed inside to Charles.
You got 2 point guards out there for Villanova as well, and Mike Nardi and Derek Snowden. So you got guys who can create and make plays for other guys.
Seton Hall will try to hold for the final shot no matter what happens. Villanova's got to be pleased getting to the break with the lead against a very good Pirate team. Barrett one-on-one with Nardi. Tough pull-up. Whitney got it. Kelly Whitney makes it a 2-point game of the break.
Well, you knew the ball was going to be in Andre Barrett's hands as the clock ran down. And here, Nardi does a nice job getting Barrett off balance. And it was just a little bit of effort by Andre Barrett that kept that ball alive, and Whitney followed nicely.
Villanova leading by 2. Jay Wright standing by with Doris Burke.
Jay Wright, your team shot 50% in the first half. What did you see that you liked on that end of the floor?
We're getting Alan Ray good looks. He's a good shooter. So when you get him open, he usually makes it. Seton Hall does a good job of defending screens, so we got to find different ways to get him the ball.
You've been able to compete and get leads in the first half. What's the key to continuing in the second half?
We got to take care of the ball. We got to execute, and we got to get these young guys to believe that they're going to finish this one. That's what we got to do at halftime.
Dan Schulman, turnovers always foremost in Jay Wright's mind.
Well, they've had 9 in the first half, but Doris, they've still got the lead. Time for the 7-Up halftime report. Let's see with his vision and his scoring tonight. He has 13 in the first half, and Alan Ray's got even more, 15 for the Wildcats. Villanova leading Seton Hall by 2 as we move to the second half. Championship week presented by 7-Up. Len, you look at this game, I mean, basically tied a 2-point game. Very aggressive defense by Seton Hall, but Villanova's executed very well offensively.
Well, they certainly have, and it's been Alan Ray who's really been able to break down that Seton Hall defense, not only with his shots, but also getting other guys involved. Now, the question is whether or not Seton Hall can continue to be aggressive to the basket. They've gotten to the line 18 times, made 12 of them, despite shooting only 39% from the field.
A follow-up look at our Star Watch. Hey, we picked the right guys tonight. Alan Ray and Andre Barrett both had terrific offensive first halves. What's at stake here tonight? Well, Villanova needs to win 2 games in this tournament if they're going to be eligible for the NIT. Mike Nardi out ahead of the pack, lays it in. Seton Hall just trying to keep the momentum going and improve its credentials and really improve its seeding for the NCAA tournament.
Oh, look at that split. Look at that split.
Nardi, look at Villanova running now, led by Foy. Off the glass. Boy, Villanova, every time we see them, they start every half tremendously well. A couple of quick buckets for the Wildcats, and all of a sudden the lead is up to 6. Timeout, Pirates.
Doing exactly what their coaching staff talked about in the locker room at halftime. They wanted to build on the 8 points off transition that they had in the first half. Randy Foy getting out, running, doing the job he was supposed to do. And guys, they just wanted to make sure also that they kept their turnovers to a minimum here in the second half. They had 10 in the first. On the other side for Seton Hall, they had felt like they had weathered the best storm that Villanova could come at them with. As well as they shot it, Seton Hall staff felt good. They wanted to execute a little bit better on offense, but that was the only adjustment coming out of Seton Hall.
Now Villanova executes very well here to begin the second half, and they've got unbelievable bounce line as they begin the second half, just as they did the first half. And if they could ever sustain this for 20 minutes each half, they'd be an incredible team. Another turnover committed by the Pirates.
Well, if Seton Hall thought that the first half they had weathered the storm, it's raining here. Because I'm telling you right now, we talked about it, the bounce in Villanova's step, the confidence that they're playing with at this moment in time. It's just something, obviously, that Jay Wright can only dream of in sustaining throughout the season.
We saw the pressure on Notre Dame, the favorite in the West Virginia game, as the Mountaineers almost came back and won it. 2 more for Randy Foy. In this game, although the stakes aren't quite as high for the Pirates, you'd have to think what pressure exists in this game is probably on Seton Hall just because they're the favorite.
And that should be enough to motivate them. But again, the adage in sports is you go with the team that has the most to play for. And as far as Villanova's concerned, they don't want their season to end here, which it probably would with a loss.
Definitely would. They're a sub-500 team right now at 14-15. Although, again, so many of the losses have been close. 12 of the 15 losses by 7 points or less. Foy will go out. Snowden will come in. A very good start to the second half for Randy Foy.
And if you're Lewis Orr and Seton Hall, you don't want to start digging yourself into a hole. Certainly you're capable of coming back. But the amount of energy it takes to come back leaves you with nothing down the stretch.
Barrett, nice find to Whitney. Count it, and a foul. He's got eyes on the side of his head and the back of his head. He sees things other players don't see.
Well, again, he knew how to create this. Look at him draw the defense. And he had Whitney in the corner of his eye all the time. Curtis Sumter sniffed that one out, but couldn't react in time.
Another assist for Andre Barrett as he inches closer and closer to breaking Shaheen Holloway's Seton Hall assist record. And now Barrett with a foul about 90 feet away from the basket. He's been playing that tough D the whole night. A little bit too close right there.
Well, he's definitely trying to pressure Mike Nardi. Again, recognizing Villanova's penchant for turning the ball over.
Senior against the freshman. Nardi's responded well tonight, though. Ray in the post. He's the high scorer tonight for Villanova.
And you're right about Nardi. He hasn't tried to do anything really fancy. That time a little lackadaisical with the pass.
Barrett. The trailer, Tony L has it blocked. Barrett's got about 3 or 4 gears, too, Lynn, where you think he's going full speed, and then he goes one faster, or he comes to almost a complete stop, and then he accelerates again. I don't know how you measure this guy.
Well, you don't have to be flash out there on the floor. If you can change speeds, you know, you lull your defender to sleep, and then you put on the afterburner. Makes you a lot faster than you appear, although I don't know how much faster Andre Barrett can be.
Nardi, turnover, Villanova. Barrett. Morris on the wing. Whitney to the floor. Loose ball to the Pirates.
Excellent hustle by Kelly Whitney. Rare that you see the big guys get on the floor in the paint.
John Allen forces one. Tony L misses the jam. Whitney again. Allen another miss. Tony L. And Seton Hall's got it again. No over and back as Snowden touched it.
And now it's time for Andre Barrett to get his team under control.
Tony L passes up the 3. Barrett will not. The foul against Whitney of Seton Hall. Number 2 on him. All that effort and nothing to show for it at this end of the floor for the Pirates. We're in the second half of the 4th and final first-round game from the Big East Championship here in New York City. All a part of Championship Week presented by 7-Up. Dan Shulman, Len Elmore, and Doris Burke with you here at Madison Square Garden. Already today, Virginia Tech defeated Rutgers. Boston College over Georgetown. Notre Dame by 1 over West Virginia. The winner of this game will meet Providence tomorrow night, 9 Eastern, right here on ESPN. Ray inside. Fortunate bounce there for the Wildcats.
And if I'm Louis Orr, I try to use this as a barometer for my team. You know, you got the lower seed playing above their heads with this type of lead. You're going to face this in the NCAA tournament. His team has got to be able to mentally bounce back and get on their game. Right now, in this second half, Villanova is taking Seton Hall off of their game.
Held ball situation. Villanova will retain possession. This gives you an idea in this league, and in so many of the leagues across the country, that the difference between a 10 and 6, and in this case a 7 and 9, 6th seed and 11th seed, there's really not a lot separating a lot of teams in this kind of a conference. Shot clock with just 1 second remaining as Foy inbounds. Ray got it off. Barrett. What a pass. Allen. Good finish.
And you know, Andre Barrett looked at John Allen almost before he received the ball. He wanted to see who was running with him. Once he received, he knew exactly out of position to make the play.
So Barrett, once again, leading the Pirates back into this game. A timeout on the floor. Does this as well as just about any point guard in the country. Getting out in transition, getting layups. 15:54 to go here in the second half. Andre Barrett, though, great transition to basketball then, getting the Pirates an easy bucket.
Well, absolutely. And I mentioned before, he recognized the runners out there on the floor. Watch this man right here. He's running wide, classic fast break style. Defenders don't recognize him because he's so wide. But at the free throw line, that's when he makes his angle to the basket. You see how Barrett was looking? Now he looks him off, draws the defenders to him. And he finds Allen running in the left lane. That's just a classic fast break run by a quintessential point guard in Andre Barrett. And I know what it's like to run with a guy like that. I had a guy on my team by the name of John Lucas at the University of Maryland who was that unselfish, had that kind of court vision. And his son, John Lucas III, is not too bad either at Oklahoma State.
Barrett with 13 points, 4 assists, and 4 steals tonight. But Seton Hall still trailing. Pretty feisty Villanova team here tonight, playing some good basketball. Sumter driving on three. Look at the pump fakes. What moves by Curtis Sumter. You can see why he earned third-team All-Big East recognition, averaging almost 15 points per game this season.
It's hard to believe he only averaged 6 points a game last year. Vastly improved.
Boy, Whitney way off on that. Ray the rebound.
Whitney's out of his range. I mean, you get in that paint, 6-foot range. Don't try 7-foot shots.
57% on the season because he takes shots from close in. Offensive rebound, Frazier.
Nothing wrong with that.
Got it back, lays it in. Villanova playing some solid basketball right now, leading favored Seton Hall by 7. They reverse it to Barrett. Nice find. Whitney, that's how you shoot 57%.
We talked about Andre Barrett, all-conference point guard, but his value for this team is making other guys better. He knows he can score, and he probably could score a lot more points, but his team wouldn't be nearly as successful.
His 5th assist of the night, averaging almost 6 per game. He was 2nd in the Big East this year to Talik Brown of Connecticut. Allen Ray guarded by John Allen, and Ray, floater no, rebound sweep. Here comes Barrett again, 3-on-2. This time he goes to the right to Morris, but wave it off. Offensive foul against Morris.
And here's the break again. Barrett in the middle. Again, looks off the defense. Whoa, no. You got to be in a legal position. Once the guy takes off, you cannot run underneath.
That's a big call that goes against Seton Hall. Foy with the floater that won't go, and it's out of bounds. Back to the Pirates.
Once a player leaves his feet, the defender can't establish position underneath him. At least not get away with it.
Now in the half court, we'll see what Barrett puts up for the Pirates. Allen has passed up the outside shot for the most part tonight. Barrett. 3 not there. And a foul against Villanova. And a shaken up Seton Hall player. Tomorrow, championship week presented by 7-Up and the Big East Championship both continue on ESPN2. Quarterfinal action, Virginia Tech against number 6 Pittsburgh, the defending conference champions. And then Boston College against number 23 Syracuse. What an afternoon doubleheader over on ESPN2 tomorrow night, 7 Eastern. Len and I will have Connecticut, Notre Dame on ESPN2, and then the winner of this game against Providence at 9 Eastern right here on ESPN. That game also available on ESPN HD.
And speaking of the afternoon session, how about Syracuse finishing with a flare, beating UConn, securing that bye?
Well, it looked like when Billy Edelin stopped playing because of personal reason, it looked like Syracuse was really going to have an uphill climb the rest of the way, but they had some major wins down the stretch, and they're playing as well now as they have all season.
And the key was Jerry McNamara's adjustment to solely playing the point guard, and the young players for Syracuse starting to emerge.
Sheridan, too strong. Follow is there. Curtis Sumter in the right place at the right time. He's got 13. Whitney tried to reverse, and Sumter knocked it out of bounds.
Boy, terrific defense. Curtis Sumter, without fouling, thwarted that shot. Look at the drive right there. And just a nice job of crashing the glass by Villanova. They're finding ways to get to the basket, unlike the first half when they weren't nearly as aggressive.
Barrett using the screen from Whitney.
Count it. And that's the right call. Once again, Whitney leaves the ground. The defender steps underneath him when he's in the air. That's not legal defending position.
Whitney's still not getting up. Now it's a little bit of help from his friends.
Again, watch Barrett off the screen and roll. Just a nice job splitting the defense. Whitney goes strong, and once again, not only the defender establish position underneath him, but you've got to also give the offensive player a chance to change direction.
Another assist for Andre Barrett and a three-point opportunity for Kelly Whitney.
Give him room to change direction, I should say.
2-point game. Sheridan sits down after committing the foul. Whitney will come out now. Bill Meyer checks back in for the Pirates. Villanova has led almost the entire night by as many as 10 points. All of of the games here on day one of the Big East Championship have been close. Rutgers, Virginia Tech went down to the wire. So did Notre Dame, West Virginia. And Georgetown gave Boston College a decent fight as well.
Seton Hall now in a 2-3 zone. Again, looking to change gears a little bit.
Now Billmeyer rips the ball away from Frazier. We had a foul long before. We'll sort it out when we come back. Villanova clinging to a 2-point lead on the Pirates. Week presented by 7-Up. 2-point lead for Villanova. New York City, the center of it all for the Big East Conference right now. So many New York City players in this tournament, including Andre Barrett, who has had a phenomenal night.
And talking about the boy from New York City, he's got that magnetic personality on the floor in that he continually draws defenders to him, and that sets up opportunities to hit cutters in the half court and on the fast break. You look at his numbers right there, 7 assists. That's what we talk about when we say he makes his teammates better. He draws the defenders, gives them opportunities for clear shots at the hoop.
Now I know why when Andre Barrett called up Sweet, who was going to transfer out of Duke, and he said, hey, come play with me. Now I know why Sweet wanted to do it. He played with him in high school, and he knew how much fun it would be to play with a point guard as talented as Andre Barrett. Frazier trying to back down Billmeyer, giving up about 40 pounds in that matchup. 3 from the wing is drilled by Mike Nardi.
And that was pretty far out. Andre Barrett didn't really put up any resistance, thinking that Nardi would never be able to have the range to bust that one.
John Allen, a quiet 6 points here tonight. Tough shot. Followed by Morris, no. Frazier rips it down. Here's Allen Ray. Spins past Barrett, blocked by Allen. Great save by Snowden. Two-man game with Nardi. Sumter runs it down.
Excellent hustle by Curtis Sumter. Never gave up on the shot.
He's been impressive tonight.
You know, those are the little things that make you a winner. And I think Jay Wright is pleased that he's seeing signs of life here.
Snowden splits the double team, then turns it over to Allen. Boy, Barrett to Morris, who misses it. What a sequence that was.
Boy, Andre Barrett, where did he come from to get that loose ball? Lewis Orr obviously disappointed in that trip down, a lost opportunity.
Barrett has a kind of a look of resignation on his face at times tonight, as if it's just not going to be, not his night, but his team's night. Bad bounce here, didn't get a call there. He's had a phenomenal game, but he looks a little bit frustrated.
Yeah, but he's got to look up at the clock. There's 10 minutes left, and they're only down 5.
Snowden into the paint. Ray for 3. Great rebound by Sweet.
And that's just 2 trips down the floor, 2 stops.
That one's going to go against the Wildcats. Sumter called for the foul. Well, another thing we haven't mentioned about Barrett is how many minutes he plays. He averages 36 per game, and if it's a close game, he simply doesn't come out.
Well, he's one of those got-to-have guys on the floor. And, you know, you talk about his ability to find people and become the most valuable player out there. When you're 5'10" and you're looking for a pickup game, you want to get picked. And so he's developed that knack of keeping people's hands full around the basket.
Left open. How does that happen? Yet he can also knock down the shots. 17.5 points per game, in addition to being one of the best distributors in the Big East. He's not given an inch, but neither is Nardi, who's acquitted himself well here tonight. And now John Allen of Seton Hall doesn't like the call as he gets whistled for the foul.
Talk about that loose ball situation with Andre Barrett. He's right here. He's going to step out, and nobody even looks at him. He just gets a little screen right there. Nardi bites for it. He just falls asleep, lulls Nardi into a false sense of security, and uses that screen nicely.
So the lead is down to 3. Again, Villanova has led almost the entire game as they try to pull off the upset. The winner plays Providence tomorrow night, 9 Eastern, here on ESPN. Boy, yeah, you're right. John Cal got it right. Jason Frazier a little over exuberant with that right arm. Let's go to Doris Burke.
Well, Kelly Whitney, he has got a bandage over the right eye. He just took a shot to it, guys, at the halftime break. He had scored the bucket going into the locker room. He got 5 stitches. It looks like that contact has caused it to bleed again. See the shot by Jason Frazier right there. And those stitches coming at the half. It's been a physical game at times, guys.
Sure has.
Well, we mentioned in the first half how many big bodies were laying in a heap in the paint on numerous occasions.
Three-pointer, a little bit strong for Sweet. We're watching the Seton Hall Rutgers game on Sunday to wrap up the regular season. That's as physical as any Big East game that I've seen all year. Frazier. Still a work in progress of the offensive end.
But that was good position by Kelly Whitney. He took that shot away from Frazier.
Barrett the rebound on the long miss. Seton Hall with numbers again. And Barrett throws it away. Don't know if he thought Morris was going to go to the basket, and instead Morris backed off to the corner looking for the jumper.
And that's exactly what Barrett was saying. He was pointing. Watch him point. It gives you that disgusted, kind of disappointed look, and then he starts to point and tell him, hey, I thought you were going to the basket. But he's got to recognize also who's running with him. J.R. Morris is a jump shooter. He's not a guy who's going to slash to the hole.
Randy Ford for Villanova. Sheridan from the baseline. Nardi keeps it alive. Here comes Tourney. Surrounded, he lays it in.
Oh, that was the reluctant drive. Marcus Toniel went down on that break. He kept looking for help. Somebody run with me. And then he found himself close to the hole, and he finally said, why not?
The Pirates back within a point. Have not led since early in the first half. Looking for their 21st win of the season against the underdog Wildcats, who lead by 1 as we create more memories of the Big East Championship.
And it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
Close game here in first-round action of the Big East Championship. Villanova trying to pull off the upset. They've lost 5 in a row, but they're leading Seton Hall by 1 right now. As we check out the storylines from the Big East Championship, Panthers have been to the championship game each of the last 3 years, trying to make it 4 in a row. Virginia Tech in their first and what will eventually be their last and their only appearance in the Big East Championship. They won today, beating Rutgers in the 8-9 game. St. John's did not qualify. What a dreadful year for the Johnnies. First time ever that they don't play right on their own home court here with the Big East Championship. And then the big story in the Big East and maybe in all of college basketball right now, Emeka Okafor. He went and saw a specialist today, took an MRI, flew down to Dallas, we understand, and saw a specialist to look at his back. And he is questionable for tomorrow's quarterfinal game against Notre Dame. The question is, will he be able to play? The other question, Len, is should they even try to play him, or should they save him for bigger things down the road? You know Okafor wants to play in this Big East tournament.
Well, it certainly all depends upon the diagnosis. If it's something that can be made even more serious, then obviously you sit him out. But if it's something that's not going to be any more irritated, then you leave it up to him. I mean, it's one of those things, back spasms are recurring. If it's chronic, an even bigger story is the fact that with him, they're a contender for the national championship. Without him, at least right now, unless they improve, to me, they're just a Sweet 16 team.
Again, as it was described to me earlier today at the Connecticut practice, he suffers from an irritation in his spine that leads to the muscle spasms that he feels in his back. Steal by Sweet. Wow. I mean, he was all business down at that end as he draws the foul.
Well, Sweet went to the basket strong here. A nice job in the open floor after the steal. Look at Allen Ray coming from behind. Ray takes the brunt of that. Another look. Look at Ray on the right side. He goes up, makes contact. And Ray's the one that gets thrown into the crowd.
So Sweet to the line for 2.
Talk about how hot he was in the last 2 games. A double-double he averaged, 14 points, 12 rebounds. Very quiet evening for Andre Sweet. Yet his team is right here in the hunt.
A couple of pretty balanced teams. Both Louis Orr and Jay Wright can rely on a number of different scores, especially Louis Orr. Again, that unusual setup, that routine that Sweet goes through at the line, but whatever knocks him down. Last Seton Hall lead way back early in the first half. Villanova has led by as many as 10. Good crowd on hand here tonight on day one of the Big East Championship in New York City, and the 4 quarterfinals to come tomorrow. Snowden on the drive, needs some help, finds Nardi. Now Nardi needs some help, finds Snowden. The pull-up. Every rebound so hotly contested.
Well, there's quite a crowd underneath. No one really able to be strong enough to make room for themselves.
Villanova ball, just over 6 minutes to go. And away from the ball, John Cowell has a foul on Andre Sweet of Seton Hall. Now, one of the upcoming telecasts on ESPN, and that means on ESPN HD as well, is the 9 o'clock game tomorrow night. The 4th quarterfinal as Providence plays the winner of this game. To find out exactly what games are available on ESPN HD, go to ESPN.com and search HD for a full March schedule. ESPN HD available at Phillips and Best Buy. Jay Wright hollering out instructions to Randy Ford. Again, multiple ball handlers in the game for Villanova. Nardi just about went into the backcourt right there, and out of his knees does a little curly kneel as he keeps his dribble alive. Now look inside for Charles, the 7-footer. Villanova foul.
Well, that possession could have been more disastrous. As you mentioned, Nardi perilously close to the backcourt. All it takes is for any part of his body to touch that line. And there he goes to his knees. Curly Neal, Marcus Haynes, you name it. But they still get possession. They get the ball down low. Charles obviously unable to finish.
You know, whether it's Charles or whether it's Frazier, they don't have a lot of, or Sheridan even, they don't have a lot of offense they can get down to the post. Sumter can do it at 6'7", but there's not a whole lot of inside offense right now for Villanova.
Well, again, you look at these guys and they're young, they're raw, but just as importantly, they're slender, they're not explosive. And that's what you need when you're down on the block. You get the ball deep down low. You can't try to finesse your way. You've got to be able to use pump fakes, use your footwork, and when you get in position, explode to the hoop.
Seton Hall has its first lead since it was 7-6. Now, some of the players acting as if we have a timeout on the floor, which we don't. We just have a lot of subs coming in for both teams. And play quickly resumes. First lead since early in the first half. Villanova so young and so close in so many games this year, but so often on the losing end.
And you watch Andre Barrett when he was guarding Mike Nardi. A nice job of cutting off the angles, making it difficult.
Randy Foy, how did he get that to go?
You talk about a post-up presence. If your big man can't do it, send your guards down there. And Foy, boy.
Not a classic, but it counts. Marcus Toniel the foul.
Well, it's that upper body strain. Randy Foy, very thick up top. He got hit in the shoulders. Still able to square up just enough to get that shot off.
Fourth on Toniel. You're right, their strongest players are probably Foy and Ray, 2 of their 6'2" guards. Now, Villanova looks a little bit confused right now defensively. Missed assignments, and it cost them. They're all scrambling around.
And boy, that shot Marcus Toniel made was a lot tougher than it looked. On the baseline, had to draw contact with no call, and still able to bank the shot in.
A team that's unquestionably playing for today in Seton Hall with a couple of starting seniors. A team in all likelihood headed to the NCAA tournament against the Villanova team as Frazier jams it. Playing for today, but realizing their best days are tomorrow and down the road and next year. But Villanova putting up a heck of a fight against a much more experienced Pirate team. Knocked away. Allen Ray's all by himself. And he got a timeout call.
Nice bounce right back to him.
Villanova leading Seton Hall by 1. The fourth and final opening round game here at the Big East Championship in New York City. All a part of Championship Week presented by 7-Up, along with Len Elmore and Doris Burke. I'm Dan Shulman, and we've had a couple of very entertaining games here tonight. First, Notre Dame beating West Virginia by 1, and now Villanova leading Seton Hall by 1. And there's more Championship Week action presented by 7-Up coming your way tomorrow right here for the Big East Championship. It begins at noon Eastern on ESPN2, and Sean McDonough, Bill Raftery, and Jay Billis will bring you Virginia Tech, the winner over Rutgers today, against the top seed in the Big East, Pittsburgh, and then Syracuse, which got a bye as well, taking on Boston College, a winner over Georgetown. And that BC team, that BC story is really a great one. Troy Bell graduates, goes to the NBA. Ryan Sidney and Andrew Bryant dismissed from the team. It doesn't look like Al Skinner has a whole lot to work with coming into the season, and they wind up winning 20 games and in all likelihood going to the big dance.
And they're doing it with freshmen and sophomores. I mean, Jared Dudley, one of the top freshmen in the Big East, they weren't able to sign him until August. I mean, you talk about a find. He has been a diamond in the rough that's now just starting to show his value.
Boyd penetrates. Look at the elevation. What a jump stop there by Randy Ford. Villanova ups the lead to 3. Timeout. Lewis Orr and Seton Hall. 30-second timeout. Now, Seton Hall has won the Big East Championship twice before, in 1991 and in 1993. Led by tournament MVP Terry DeHare, the Pirates got a huge win over Syracuse, winning 103-70, the largest margin of victory ever in the Big East Championship game.
Boy, TD among the most prolific scorers in Big East history.
You can see the brackets and what's already been accomplished here today with Virginia Tech, Boston College, Notre Dame all advancing. One of Seton Hall and Villanova will move on to play Providence tomorrow night, 9 Eastern, right here on ESPN. The Big East seemingly with already 6 teams pretty much assured of NCAA bids. And then the only questionable team, the only so-called bubble team, would be Notre Dame. Picked up a must-win over West Virginia. Now they'll play Connecticut tomorrow night, which may not have Emeka Okafor healthy enough to play. Sweet gets his man in the air.
Nice look. Whitney underneath. Man, talk about change in direction. Sweet rose to the height of his elevation, and then still able to get that ball down to Whitney, who became open as soon as Sweet went up for the shot and drew the defenders.
Not only has this been a fun game to watch, but the effort has been tremendous by both teams. And it's been ragged at times, Len, but at other times the offensive execution has been very crisp. Allen Ray. Frazier tried to keep it alive, and he gets called for going over the back.
Talk about Andre Sweet as the anchor of this team. Look at him go up for the shot. Pump fake right there. All right, now he goes to the height of his jump and then finds Whitney as the defenders converge. I mean, that's unselfishness right there. You're at the height of your jump. You're focused on the rim. That's all you're thinking about. But he had the presence of mind to find the open man for a better shot, just like Dr. Naismith drew it up. That's what he intended. Too many times you see guys driving to the basket, getting 2 feet away, and then tossing it out for a guy to shoot an 18-footer.
Now playing with Andre Barrett, I guess, gets contagious. Look at that scrum underneath on the first free throw by Kelly Whitney, who missed his first 2 tonight and has now made 9 in a row. And if ever you hear the argument, and we all do, that conference tournaments in the grander scheme of things have become irrelevant, just look at the effort being put forth by these 2 teams here tonight.
Well, it's all about the character of the kids who are out on the floor. These guys want to compete. You know, they want to win. It doesn't matter whether they're in the big dance or not. You got a guy like Andre Barrett from New York City. The Big East tournament and championship is here in New York City. He wants to win on the home floor.
Whitney buries them both, and we've got yet another nail-biter as Seton Hall and Villanova go down to the wire here in New York.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with my new Kia Sedona.
Welcome back to tonight's telecast here on ESPN and ESPN HD, all sponsored by Philips and Best Buy. There are two main reasons why watching a game in high def is better than watching it on your standard television. One is clarity. The other is HD gives you a much more comprehensive look at the action on the floor. Whatever's inside the red box is what you would see on your standard television at home. Whatever is outside the box, as they say, is what you would see if you were watching this game tonight on ESPN HD. 17 more basketball games to come in the month of March on ESPN HD.
Well, with HD, you can see the full floor. You can see every player like Curtis Sumter found Mike Nardi. The plays develop. It just puts you in the game.
Sports Center is next year on ESPN. With HD, it's like being Andre Barrett. You can see things that other people can't. And he's been that way all night long. Seton Hall by a point inside the final 3 minutes here in the final first-round game. Fourth and final first-round game at the Big East Championship. And it's been a great first day of basketball action here in New York. Frazier a little more assertive offensively the last few minutes as he draws the foul. Coming up on Sports Center after the game here tonight, bubble or bust. That's one of the big themes across the country. Todd Bertuzzi speaks out for the first time after that horrific play that he made against Colorado a couple of nights ago. And Tracy McGrady with a magical night, to say the least. That and more on Sports Center after the game.
What a tragedy for hockey to see that play.
Well, as an attorney, let me ask you, do you think this goes above and beyond hockey? I mean, they're looking into pressing charges up in British Columbia. What do you think?
Well, I remember speaking out on the McSorley situation when he hit Brashear with the stick, and I thought, again, the stick was a dangerous weapon and was a criminal offense. And this one, obviously, it was bodies, but he's so much bigger. Bertuzzi's so much bigger than the guy, and it was premeditated. And I think, again, based upon the damage, that you have to. You know, the deterrence aspect of it is very important.
Plenty more on that and other stories on Sports Center after the game tonight here on ESPN. Villanova back up by one. Sweet left open, doesn't get the shot off. Tourney looking inside for Whitney, who's already got 20 points tonight. Instead, it's Allen with a long miss. Offensive rebound, Tourney.
Boy, look at the athleticism. Good gracious.
Andre Sweet leaping above everybody to give Seton Hall a 1-point lead. Offensive rebounding has been a story lately in this game for Seton Hall. They got a lot of athletes on the floor.
Guys flying through the air, making sure they keep that ball alive.
Ray trying to reestablish his offense. Tough shot.
And tough defense by John Allen that time. Allen Ray terrific at breaking you down, but you got to go for some of the fakes, and John Allen was having none of it.
Len Allen Ray had 15 points in the first half. He has not scored in the second half.
I still think you go to him if you're Villanova.
Sweet wide open. Rebound Frazier. Villanova can reclaim the lead. The winner gets Providence tomorrow night, 9 Eastern, right here on ESPN in a quarterfinal game.
We talk about Villanova needing that go-to guy down the stretch, and I think Allen Ray has earned that right. He's missed some shots, obviously, in the second half, but you still go to him. That's who you ride.
Still looking for his first points of the second half. Time now for our Nike game track here between Villanova and Seton Hall. 15 turnovers, always a big problem for the Wildcats. Again, a big first half, but a scoreless second half for Allen Ray. Seton Hall, all that offensive rebounding, turning it into second chance points. And Andre Barrett, in so many different ways, the most influential player on the floor. And as the senior, the guy who's been here for 4 years, wants to keep it going and head deeper into this tournament and into the NCAA tournament with a lot of momentum.
Well, Andre Barrett is, of course, the guy that leads Seton Hall, but he's getting plenty of help. We saw that last sequence on offensive rebounding. That's one of the keys for Seton Hall. Their key guy, like John Allen, not really hitting, but they've been finding a way to keep the ball alive, to get those second chance opportunities, and that's what's gotten them this slim lead. And they've got to be able to continue to crash those boards. On the other end, terrific defense by John Allen against Allen Ray. You know, that's been the difference and allowed Seton Hall to creep back into this game and again take that lead.
This game's so similar to so many others for Villanova. Close game, a lot of turnovers, and can they hit the big shot down the stretch? Sumter with an air ball. Seton Hall takes over.
And here's where Allen Ray has to learn to lead. The most talented offensive player on this team. Yes, he's been off in the second half, but he's got to have the ball. He's got to create. Don't put Curtis Sumter in a position where he's not going to succeed.
6 lead changes and 3 ties in the last 4.5 minutes alone. And Andre Barrett's going to milk the clock. We saw Notre Dame beat West Virginia by a single point a couple of hours ago in this building. Just as close here now. Barrett, and a block by Frazier. What a play.
Up goes Frazier.
Timeout Villanova. They're going to set up for what they hope is the game-winning shot. We mentioned Frazier is a work in progress at the offensive end. He's a little bit further along at the defensive end.
Well, this is all instinct right here. Here's the drive. Frazier from the weak side using his left hand. Watch again. Watch the right hand go up. Look for the block, but he still keeps his left hand at the ready. And a nice job, and more importantly, keeping it in play.
Frazier, a guy who's never really been healthy in his 2 years at Villanova, so he has shown only flashes of the potential and the hype that accompanied him to Villanova. When he came in, that big class, Len, the 4 sophomores now, he came in as the most highly acclaimed group of player in that 4.
And well-deserved, because he was a guy that, at least in high school, was a very dominant player. He had an instinct for what to do on the offensive end on the block. But again, we mentioned slowed by the injuries, and when your legs go as a big guy, it really retards your development. He doesn't have the explosiveness that he once had. But that time, it looked as though he had just totally forgotten about the injuries, went up and got the job done.
Stuart Scott, Scott Van Pelt standing by. SportsCenter is next here on ESPN. A look at all the championship week action. The Big East will be prominently featured. This is the 4th game of the day from this building in this league. 22 seconds to go. Allen Ray needs to be the man, you're saying. What has Jay Wright, what should Jay Wright draw up here for Villanova to try to win this game?
Well, there's plenty of time. First of all, they got to get the ball in bounds. And you look for some screens that are going to absolutely assure that they get the ball in bounds. Then you go to your half-court set. You got to run essentially 5 wide with Ray at the top in the middle. He is a breakdown artist. Let him put the ball on the floor. Try to force the Seton Hall defense to adjust. If they don't, he takes it. If they do, he's able to deliver it to somebody in a position where they can succeed.
Seton Hall follows up with a timeout. Both teams are over the limit, so if Seton Hall commits a foul, even a non-shooting foul, Villanova would go to the line. Virginia Tech with a win earlier today against Rutgers, 61-58. Boston College over Georgetown, 68-57 to advance to the quarters. Notre Dame 65, West Virginia 64, in a very entertaining game that immediately preceded this one. And now just as much fun to watch, Seton Hall and Villanova with the winner taking on Providence tomorrow night.
And Allen Ray, the guy who's inbounding the ball, always the most dangerous one, but at least it allows him to find a way. Oh, Nardi slips.
Nardi hits the floor. Barrett gets the ball off to Tourney, who's fouled. What a tough break for Villanova. Villanova just 2-8 in games decided by 5 points or less this year. And can you believe the bad luck there as Nardi tumbles to the floor, and that's going to send Seton Hall to the line.
Well, the blessed laid plans of mice and men. There's Nardi right there trying to get open.
Just
and he just
knees.
trips,
Yeah.
right.
Bang knees with Barrett.
Well, you don't even think about a guy going down like that when you're drawing up this play in the huddle. And that kind of captures the last couple of years for Villanova in a nutshell. So close, just so close.
Now, it's not over yet. Even if Marcus Toniel knocks them both down, it's a 1-possession game with plenty of time. And knocking them both down is no formality for Marcus Toniel, who's just a 61% shooter on the season.
Do you smell redemption in the air?
For Marcus Toniel?
Well, if he doesn't knock him down, for Mike Nardi.
Yeah, possibly. Seton Hall has made its last 10 free throws, but this will be the first time Toniel steps to the line tonight. He's a senior.
Not even close.
Villanova has a timeout remaining.
I'm going to say Louis is a pretty good free throw shooter, but you can't shoot it for him. You got to stay there on the sideline.
There's pace and sweat. Not even close again. I mean, way off, as he doesn't even touch iron.
And you know what? The officials didn't call it, but Will Sheridan could have been called for disconcerting the free throw shooter, because at the last second he swung his arms down, had no real purpose for it. And I'm sure Tourney, not really a good free throw shooter. I'm sure that spooked him even more.
Villanova will use its final timeout. Once again, you talked about redemption. They've got a chance to set up for the final shot.
And again, disconcerting the free throw shooter. Watch the man right here. Watch his arms. The last second. There's no real reason for that. And man,
he was 2 feet short. A lot of pressure on Tourney, and he misses both free throws. So Villanova again can set up for a chance to win, pull off the upset, and advance to round 2 against Providence tomorrow night, 9 Eastern on ESPN and ESPN HD. Villanova now out of timeouts. And the arrow goes to Seton Hall. 2 potentially critical elements to consider here in the final 16 seconds. Andre Barrett has done all that he can do. Now Seton Hall's got to make a defensive stand. Nardi will bring it up court, defended by Barrett. Will it be Ray off a screen? 4.
oh, that's an offensive with the push-off.
Hits the shot with 3.5 seconds to go. Barrett for 3 in the win, and Villanova pulls off the upset. And a dejected Andre Barrett is the first player off the floor tonight. Seton Hall loses in the first round of the Big East Championship. They are 20-9. Most still believe they don't have anything to worry about, that they will go to the NCAA tournament. But Seton Hall loses, and Villanova finally wins a close game.
Well, again, it all came down to patience. And you take a look right here. Here's the drive. Now watch the left arm right there.
Yep.
There's the push-off. No call.
Randy Foye wins it for Villanova. Andre Barrett, the length of the floor, got a reasonably clean look at a 3, but needless to say, a tough shot for him to hit. Randy Foye maybe getting away with one, and Villanova wins by 1. Well, partner, we had 2 games here tonight, and they both went down to the final second of the game.
Well, this is what it's all about, man. This is fun. I know we're going to have to go to sleep and come back here, but I wish they'd start the next one in about 20 minutes.
Well, they're going to start the afternoon session at noon Eastern with Sean and Bill and Jay. They'll be here for Pitt, Virginia Tech, and then Syracuse, Boston College on ESPN2. We'll have UConn, Notre Dame, Okafor, a game-time decision on ESPN2, and then Providence, Villanova right here on ESPN and on ESPN HD. It's been a great first day of action from the Big East Championship. Villanova upsets Seton Hall 61-60. Coming up next, Sports Center with Stuart Scott and Scott Van Pelt. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Sports Center is next.